Hey, and welcome to Medicine with the Metals. I'm Michelle. Mark is not here today, but he'll be on with us next time. We have an awesome guest today. Her name is Shaundra Hyre. That's really her name too, Hyre, and she elevates you to a higher place. She is a shamanic teacher. She was a fashion model for the first part of her life and then had some traumatic experiences and went to plant medicines, and she's got an incredible story. She offers different kinds of medicines and lots of integration, which, Mark and I love that. So why don't we just jump right into it?
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure. I am Shaundra Hyre. I'm a medicine woman. I've been practicing shamanism since, I think for like 16 years. I have a plant medicine church here in Miami. I'm the creator and founder of Tribu Spirit, one of the first OGs, I would say, in the online space of offering Hoppe so that other people can really take their healing into their own hands and supporting the indigenous tribes that we work with. We work with about eight different tribes in the Amazon in Acre, where this medicine comes from. I'm also the creator and founder of Aurora Quartz, Crystal Chalice Grails, and Bowls. And I've
Love
just
it.
birthed Tribu Spirit Academy, which is an online school for shamanism.
Okay. So in your past, before all of this, I call it my previous life.
Yeah.
So in your previous life, you were a worldwide fashion model, right?
This is true, yes.
This is true. And so
Once upon a previous time.
well, yeah, previous life. And so what brought you into this? What initiated you down this path to get to all these incredible, beautiful things that you do? And I definitely want to talk about each of them.
It was my own healing. I was in Brazil and I had no plan on being in the jungle or deep diving, but I had followed of a love. I was deeply in love, and he had invited me to go to Brazil, and we'd spent time, and then during that time we had broken up, and I was broken into a million pieces, and I decided to go into the jungle and do a deep dive for 3 months, work on all the shadow elements that breakup really brought up within me.
Had you ever done any of these plant medicines before, or was this kind of the last shaman, the last shaman kind of? Did you see that documentary?
Yeah, that's a friend of mine,
Yeah.
Rebecca. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So I always refer to that sort of as a verb. Was it your last shaman?
The last shaman's apprentice.
Yeah. Going down there and just trying to find medicine, find what was happening.
I wasn't trying to find it. If it found me at the perfect moment. And I think that relationship really, I deeply honor that relationship and that ex-partner of mine, because and that breakup, those breakdowns can be those moments of deep transformation if we lean into that really uncomfortable place and just allow ourselves to surrender and really do the deep work and alchemize it into our gifts. So that's what had happened. It was like magically this opportunity appeared for me, and I said yes. And I healed a lot of really deep, and healing is layers. It wasn't like, oh, poof, I went to the jungle for 3 months and then I was
Right.
magically healed. It was where I got an opportunity and chance to work with many different indigenous lineages. So the Hunikuin, the Yawanawa, Native American Red Road with the Diné, the Navajo, and also with Wachuma, Hoppe, Kambo. Like it was, and for me it felt a little bit like coming home. And it wasn't my first initiation or into it was my first deep work with sacred medicines. Like I said, I had started studying shamanism and had always been interested in shamanism because I'm part Cherokee Indian.
I saw
And
that.
for me, this way of growing up just felt strange. Like I knew something else, but yet didn't quite know what it was, that this way of life was just not home. Like that there was something else, that there was something deeper that was more connected to the land and spirituality, and I'd always been interested in healing. I was first actually started with Reiki and energy medicine first.
Okay.
And then when I was in New York modeling, I was a professional model for 21 years.
Okay.
14 years of it was in New York. And during that time, I had started studying shamanism at the Foundation for Shamanic Studies. And I had studied the Michael Harner methodologies of traveling and multidimensionally traveling and healing through the way of the drum without plant medicine. And for me, this was like, I tried other healing modalities and, I felt in alignment. But when I'd found the path of shamanism, it just felt like everything clicked into place.
Again, you were home.
Yeah. To answer your question, that wasn't like my first introduction to shamanism. I'd been studying shamanism and had always been interested in it. That was more and I'd actually studied shamanic yoga. I had channeled this method of a modality, and I would still like to birth it one day. I'm such a creatrix. There's so many things to birth.
I always think you were talking about this breakup and this heartache that was sort of the start of this, and that's what I always say, like, these things happen not to us but for us. And I posted something the other day about when we crack, right? When we're at, for me at least, when I'm at my lowest, when I'm most humble, I'm most teachable. And it is within those cracks that the light can come in, and that's where the growth happens the most. I mean, for myself, I'm still growing when I'm doing well, but it is when I am in the depths of it and I remain humble, not humiliated, two different things, but remain humble so I can remain teachable. Then those are the moments.
Yeah, that's really where the gold is, and where we can really alchemize our greatest challenges or pain and suffering into the greatest gifts. And I am at awe at everyone who has alchemized something in their life in that way. I think that it just makes us superhuman.
I agree. I agree. We all have our superhuman powers,
Yeah.
right? And that is the way some of it comes out. Okay, so how did you get started? What was the first medicine that you started? And then let me ask you this first. So when I hear the word shamanism, to me it feels like a Western word that we use so that people can understand. And then once you start working with the indigenous, because we believe fully at the plant medicine path and mama dose medicine with the metals, all the different things we do, all of it goes to support the indigenous. 6% of all that we do goes to support the Shawanawa tribe out of Brazil. And this is where it all comes from. It's the beginning of all of it. So we believe in that reciprocity. It's beautiful. I love that you tell me that's an important part of what you do.
So with Tribu Spirit, which is an online shamanic shop, I work with 8 different indigenous tribes
Wow.
in the region of Acre, where the Shawandawa also come from. Acre is a very large protected area in Brazil that is probably like the size of the United States, and it's divided up into different territories for the indigenous. We have different sustainability projects on Tribu Spirit, and we purchase worldwide. We're based in the US, here in Miami, and then also in England. I started Tribu Spirit in England. So with our sustainability projects, we help to every purchase that you make, like specifically with Hoppe, and when you go to the website, you'll see that this product will go towards donating and planting 5 trees. And then there's other products on there, like the crystal bowls and chalice grails that I make. Those go to help cleaning out plastics out of the ocean.
Beautiful.
So it's incredibly important.
So when you say, you know, I'm studying shamanism or I got started in that, to you, what does that word mean exactly? What are you studying? The different areas of each plant, of each spirit behind it, the teachings behind it, all of it.
Shamanism, the definition of shamanism is entering into an altered state of consciousness. And you can do that through dance, through like Siberian shamanism, the roots of where shamanism comes from in Siberia. They didn't, there's a lot of tribes that don't work with plant medicine.
Mhm.
I think that people automatically nowadays, especially, think that because plant medicines are so popular, that this is the only way of shamanism, and
Right.
it's it's different in every indigenous culture. And then there's an aspect of it that is plant medicine. But the most ancient that you will find, and the most simple of entering into altered states of consciousness, is either through dance, rattling, or drumming. And so
Mm.
this is the foundation for me where I started studying and learning how to interdimensionally travel for other for clients healing, being able to enter into that altered state of consciousness and do soul retrievals, work with my power animal. And this is something I'm going to be teaching at the academy. But this is just one arm of shamanism. I will forever be studying shamanism because it's like the portal to the infinite. You can
Totally.
so many different spirits and guides and
Totally.
allies and different different dimensions. It's so much
It's
fun.
infinite. It is absolutely infinite. I love it. Well, I definitely want to talk about Hoppe. It's one of my very favorite medicines. But you know, like you said, that so much of this people feel that it is, you know, you have to go do these psychedelics or different types of, you know, even animal medicines. Kambo, one of my very favorite medicines as well. But a lot of it, I mean, what the biggest one that is breath, right? Just breath, and we forget this, but the truth of the matter is the majority, I'll definitely say the Western world, but probably the majority of the world, we don't even know how to breathe. We don't know how to breathe.
Mm,
We don't even know how to do it. And I have been in breathwork sessions where I have gone so much deeper than even an ayahuasca journey
yeah.
that it freaked me out, actually.
It's
It
profound what can
it's
happen.
profound. Deep, deep. I mean, I was in it, my hands were all clenched, I was sobbing, I was and it lasted a long time, and then it moved into the music, and I was in the drums and just it's really powerful, and that
Yeah.
music, the music is so powerful as well. So to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So through the portal of the drum beat is, a representation of Mother Earth, the womb of Mother Earth, and the heartbeat. The drum beat is the heartbeat that connects us to Pachamama, to Mother Earth. And through entering it's a specific drum pattern that is fairly, it's not super fast, but it's like this, and repetitive. You're able to enter It enters you into an altered state of consciousness. I think it's either alpha brainwave, puts your brainwave in either alpha or beta, to be in that meditative state so that you are here, but then you're able to either journey to the lower world to meet Waskar or your power animal, or journey to the upper world and meet your spirit guides or angels, or a hawk or an eagle that needs to connect you to an angel. It's really infinite,
Mm,
the different dimensions that you can travel to. And it's it's really once you get it, it's like working your energy muscles.
sure.
Once you get into it, it's really quite easy and very simple and very, very powerful. And for me, I've actually come back around because I'm going to start teaching the medicine wheel next year. So I've done a whole nother round this last year because I was in a really deep process after my last Noyerao dieta. I went through a really big death this whole last year. And these teachings have it's so perfect, that I've come back to these teachings within the medicine wheel, and the simplicity of being able to work with the drum again, and shamanic journeying, and doing my own soul retrievals for myself in certain aspects where I'd went through a really difficult trauma in my dieta, and being able to access these tools again, because it had been so long ago, I'd forgotten about them. So there are really powerful tools that, through being able to do the shamanic illuminations, which are essentially shamanic healings. And this is also really where you begin to understand that you don't have to be in my physical presence. Healing is, and this is why I love shamanism, is because it's it's quantum. It's quantum energy medicine. And so for me in the beginning, I was always a healer first, energy healing. So when shamanism came into my life, I was like, oh wow, this is similar but different. And we get to enter into the multidimensional realms of energy. And you understand that, I can do healing on you long distance, and you don't need to be in my physical presence. And this is everyone's energetic abilities, their own God-given rights.
I'm glad you said that. I wanted to touch on that because earlier you were talking about how, when you're with a client, whether physically or remotely, and you go into that space with them. So how do I say this? Okay, I heard a story the other day, and this is the first time I've heard this. I had no idea, and now forgive me, I cannot remember which tribe it was, and I'm sure you've worked with them. They're talking about how it used to be, I think it might have even been the Shawanawa tribe. They would drink the medicine and then sit with the person who had the ailments, and that person would not drink the medicine. The shaman, the medicine man, the page would drink the medicine and then go in and do the healing. And it was not until, I was told 11, 12 years ago that they really started to bring in the people and have them drink the medicine as well. So to me, it sort of sounded like that's what you were touching on. You're really going in there and going into them really and finding what's going on.
Yeah, and I suppose the goal is, everyone can do this. It
Mhm,
just,
mm.
like I said, it is our God-given right. It's just like an energy muscle that we need to use and to exercise. The more you exercise it, the bigger the muscle gets, and the quicker the energy is, and the deeper you can go. Then you also get to a point where you don't need medicine, you don't need the drum, where you are the tool.
Because we are the medicine. This is what Mark and I say all the time, all the time. It's because people will call us and I mean, we help with the with psilocybin, but of course we help people find the right places to go for medicine and get the information, the ethical information and education about it. But the psilocybin, we know a little bit more about. But we always say to people, because they'll say, well, you're the experts on this. We're not. You are the expert on yourself. This medicine is just showing you whatever the medicine is showing you what is inside of you, and the answers are already inside of you. And we're just showing you the medicine, whatever that medicine is. You are your own guru. We have the answers. There is nothing outside of us that you know what I'm saying. I don't say it as beautifully as you did, but that's exactly it. We are the medicine.
And the medicine actually told me this a long time ago. Gosh, I think it must have been like 6 or 7 years, that the plants are here for human evolution. And there will come a point in time where humans don't need to ingest. You don't need to ingest the actual physical body of the plant, because once you drink ayahuasca, once you sit with mushrooms, sure, it helps, because it helps, produce serotonin and dopamine and all the amazing hormones and chemicals and peptides in your brain, depending on what medicine you're sitting with. But they were saying that there will come a time in humanity where we have evolved so much that all you have to do is sit next to or hold a mushroom. You don't have to, you know, ingest
Ingest.
its physical body, that you are the medicine, you become the medicine, because that frequency has connected in with your DNA. You are now in union and one with that medicine.
It already happens. It already happens when you go outside and you just take off your shoes and you put your bare feet on that ground, something happens. When you actually touch a tree, everybody laughs about tree huggers. There's scientific proof. You hug a tree and things happen. You know, I hear exactly what you're saying. We already are.
I also see this with a lot of customers at Tribu Spirit, in more in the realms of Hoppe, because you have different people from different walks of life, beginners, people who, but it's always the same. And this is what I see, is that humans are so used to needing like a punch in the face in order to think that a healing has taken place. And it's this programming and this conditioning that if it doesn't hurt, then it didn't work.
Right. Right.
And Sananga actually told me a long time ago, when after I had received Sananga, we did a little Sananga ceremony, that we were laughing joyfully, like crying with laughter. And the spirit of Sananga was like, see, you can heal through joy and laughter. It doesn't have to be painful and difficult. So I try to share this message as much as possible, is that because humans are so, we're bombarded on our stress levels. It's just, we're so numb. Humanity is so numb that it's really hard for them to feel anything that is subtle, unless it's a punch in the face or a slap in the face.
It is. It is so true. My husband who you met briefly, but you'll meet again, he will always say, like, he Wachuma, well, we love this beautiful medicine. We have
Yeah.
sat with Wachuma and the grandfather, we just love. He would always say it's such a mellow experience, I guess you could say, compared to, sometimes a Mother Aya or a Bufo experience or even a mushroom experience,
Mhm.
and he's like, I need to get my ass kicked, and I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." And I will go into the medicine, and because I've always myself have had at first, pretty, not violent, but very difficult ayahuasca journeys, and clearly I had things that needed to come out, and it wasn't, healing is not pretty all the time, right? It can be messy. But it got to a point where I would ask in the beginning of my ceremony, like, we've done a lot of darkness stuff, can we do a little healing through love and laughter? And absolutely, absolutely, we can heal through love and laughter.
Yeah.
I love that. Let's talk about Hoppe a little bit. It seems to tell me about your this medicine.
Hape actually healed. So when I got back from that 3-month deep dive, I went back to where I was living in London, and I had a massive dark night of the soul. And it was Hape that really I would say saved my life. I was
Mhm.
really in a deep depression, and Hape was the medicine that pulled me out of this dark night of the soul. And it was during that time that I was questioning everything, because I was modeling, I was living in a city in London, it was so busy, and why was I doing this superficial job? I don't
Mm.
have to if I didn't want to. So what else would I do? And this is actually where Tribu Spirit was birthed. And because Hape had helped me out of such a deep depression, I really wanted to offer this medicine to other people, to be able to use this medicine the way that I had, to pull myself out of this dark night of the soul, and also to be able to help, like, create an online platform where the indigenous had a way that they could share their medicine, that we could help preserve the knowledge and the wisdom and the information. And this is where, yeah, Tribu Spirit was birthed out of this deep connection, and Hoppe really pulling me out of that dark night of the soul.
And it's such a beautiful medicine because it is one that you can do at home, and you can do it very ceremonially at home. You know, for me, my after my first couple ayahuasca journeys, I wanted to bring that feeling of ceremony into my home, which I brought it into in lots of different ways. But sitting with Hape and going through the whole process and doing that, it was just such a beautiful thing, and that's one that you can do at home and really bring that sacredness. I believe in making every part of your life sacred, but really making that sacred time, whatever it is that when you do it.
Yeah.
Happy is a beautiful medicine.
I have so much deep, profound love for Hoppe and the spirit of tobacco. I was initiated with the medicine. I think it's something that is not really easy to come by. I know Haru Kuntanawa was doing it. He was here in Florida, I think
Yeah.
last year or the year before. He was doing Hoppe initiations. I received my Hoppe initiation in 2016 by Bainua Hunikuin, and
Yes.
it was so tough. I mean, have you also received your Hoppe initiation?
I have not,
Because
but
you said yes, like, oh yeah.
yeah, I'm well aware of what I have not. It is Hape is definitely a very difficult medicine for me to sit with, but it's one that, it's well, I have sat with. So when we go and sit with the Shawanawa tribe, they come up to Costa Rica, but also we go to Brazil and we'll go to their village. And Mana is the page, and he is, while he is a page of ayahuasca, he is also a page of Hape. His grandmother was a page of Hape, so Hape is absolutely their medicine, and they have a Hape ceremony in the middle of the ayahuasca ceremony, and so you go out in between generally cups 2 and 3, and you're still pretty deep in the medicine, and everybody, I kinda joked with me, we're in Costa Rica at Om Jungle Medicine, that everybody does the Hape the first night, nobody does it the second night. So we go out there, and he's I'm watching, and he's got a tepe that's, a good 2 feet long, and when he does it, and it's like a cloud of smoke, and I'm watching people just go down, and I'm like, "Oh my god," like, "Oh my god." I was more scared of the Hape, and I went up, and he did it, and he just did 1 nostril, and he didn't even do the second nostril, which shocked me, but I went down. I went down hard, and really for the first time in, the at that point, 6 years that I've been doing plant medicines, I was, like, actually thought that I might die. Just everything that was happening, but when it was over, it was absolutely, this is why I did it. Whatever he had in him, I wanted him to blow that into me. I wanted that spirit. I wanted what he had inside of him, and he blew it into me. And once all and you'll talk about it too, was over, then it was if he had blown up a hole, like literally straight through my chakras, right up to the heavens, where it was just, holy cow, I don't even know what happened, and that feeling was there for about 6 months of just open like I've never been open in my life.
Wow. And he only blew one nostril.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he thought maybe he would kill me if he did the other one. Which I was
One is
always told you have to do both because it'll be uneven, but I was down. I mean, oh my god, I was down. So, yeah, talk to me. I know I just took that over. I apologize. It was such a powerful experience, though. Like, it was one of the most powerful medicine experiences I have yet to have.
wow.
Mm.
Yeah, and receiving Hoppe in an ayahuasca ceremony is a whole nother story. So the initiation entailed for me receiving, you learn all the history, the specific blows, when to use them, when not to use them, when it's appropriate. Because I think a lot of people use the strongest blow. I see a lot of men do it because it's like a machismo thing. And
Yes.
like
Yes.
most of my teachers are men, and they always love to just
Blow your head off.
yeah, really hard. So that for me is actually an easy blow to receive because I've been beat up so much by it. Um, so
So you can take that, stand there, do it, and do the other nose, and really accept it and feel it and be in the medicine.
yeah, and
That's
also
beautiful.
because of the initiation. So with the initiation, I don't know how other people are doing it. I only know how I received, and it's 7 pinus, which are the blows, the suplaras. But the hummingbird, which is the strongest and the fastest, so 7 is really 14, if you're counting
Right.
both
Both sides.
nostrils.
Right.
After 2, I was like, I couldn't breathe. I was
And
like
it's right in a row,
drowning
7?
in Hoppe.
Holy cow.
But then somehow you just manage to, like, I don't know, hold your breath, and it
Yeah.
keeps going, keep going, and where you get to a point where you pass almost like a pain threshold, you're in the void
Yes.
now, you're not even
Yeah.
human.
Yes. Yes. You have snot and things coming out of every
Yeah.
orifice of your body.
At that point, I wasn't even crying. I think I had so much Hoppe I couldn't even purge. It was just, like, face down, praying to Pachamama on the earth, like, "Please." And I stayed there for I don't I think 3 hours. I couldn't
You
feel my
need
body.
her. You need her.
Yeah, we all need her. We
You
all need to
need
come
her.
back to her.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Wow.
so receiving a Hoppe initiation is, to be a carrier of the spirit, where the initiator, the teacher, whoever is giving you the initiation, like you said, blows the spirit of Hape into you. And those 7, it's hardcore, but it's important to receive those 7 because it's like it's the initiation, it's the receiving of the spirit and being able to carry that with you then when you serve Hape to somebody else.
On the other side of it, and now that you're able to serve and you've gone through that initiation, can it also be quite dangerous to receive hape from somebody who's got a lot of bad juju going on?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up because I think because Hape is so easily and readily available for people, and nobody really knows that you should actually be initiated with the medicine. Why should Hape be any different than any other medicine? It's a powerful medicine and can also, I have at times seen, entities fly off of people if they're served Hape in in a proper way. It's a strong medicine. And yes, absolutely, you can, if someone hasn't been initiated and they don't know how to if they're not keeping proper energy hygiene, or if they've not been initiated, they don't know how to shield themselves also when they're serving you,
Mhm.
there most certainly you can pick up things from other people. And I've heard other people tell me that, like, oh yeah, man, this guy, like, he served me 4, like 4 strong blows or 3 in a row, and I purged. And I was like, that person has even been initiated with Hape. You're probably purging because you're taking on that person's stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they think like, oh yeah, I did it strong, dude.
They do. There is kind of this, hurrah
Machismo.
about it. Sometimes with Kambo as well.
Yeah, how many points you can receive.
Yeah, for sure. So Kambo, okay, this is one of your medicines as well?
Yeah, I do. I have so much gratitude for for Kambo. Kambo really helped to empower me and really reclaim my power after
I
a
love this
really
medicine.
narcissistic abusive relationship.
Mhm.
Fully claimed, like, no more narcissistic abusive relationships after that. Helped me to really stand, I feel Kambo so activating in the solar plexus. Sananga also, but like Kambo, I really feel here in the solar plexus to really, he helps us clear so many, because we're multidimensional beings. We're not just physical. So Kambo also, whether you're aware or not, is working on a multidimensional way. And I always love to see with my clients the energetics, because I'm an energy tracker. It's almost always, and it happens more with men, I think maybe because men are a bit more promiscuous than women, with sexual energy, that there will always be almost like clockwork. I'll say just, like, because people come to me for 3 rounds. I don't serve people just one. I like to do really deep work.
Okay.
And so I'll say, like, beware of what's happening in relationships, opportunities. Maybe things might fall apart, but that's actually, Kambo's going to help to clear anything that is not in alignment for you anymore and give you an opportunity to allow it to dissolve.
Mhm.
Let that cord of attachment be released, or, you can keep allowing that plug to suck off of you. So cool. It's almost always with men. I see they'll be like, yeah, this ex-girlfriend messaged me out of the blue, or it's mostly men. They get these random ex-girlfriends or ex-partners relationships, people who they were promiscuous with or had sexual relationships with,
Right.
that they're wanting to actually like plug back in. So I always see Kambo is really helping to clear all of those cords of attachment, like,
Mm.
through being in relation with one another, we can create cords of attachment.
Hmm.
And yeah, Kambo helps not only with the energy fields, the multidimensional energy fields, reclaiming your power, but also really deep. I've had some incredible testimonies and the opportunity to be able to really deeply cure issues that doctors don't even know how to address. They don't know what it is. They don't know how to prescribe medicines for it. Things like lupus,
Mm-hmm.
um, OCD, Hashimoto's. Kambo is
Mhm.
amazing for autoimmune diseases.
Amazing. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite medicines. It can be a very challenging medicine to sit with, and it took me quite a long time to really find a dosage that and of course there's different times that I'm going to it for different reasons. And so sometimes the purge is super important and sometimes it's not. Sometimes I just want to work with the medicine and be able to feel it and understand it and so a smaller microdose and it's just an incredible medicine. It does so much.
How do you find microdosing? Because it's something I've been curious, just because I love to explore all realms.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's
I love it. I think it's wonderful. So I will do just 1 or 2 small dots on my ankle. I don't do it myself. I go to my wonderful dear friend who's been practicing it and studied and um, she's the one who said, "Let's try this sometime," because, usually I'll do the however many 5 on my arm or wherever it is, and, I would just go into, like, right into, like, freak out mode, like, not literally freak out, but my body would just be like, "Ah." So I never felt like I was able to work with the medicine. It was always just get this out. Let me purge. Let me, that freak out, freak out, freak out. So we did it one time and it was very limited water. I did not drink hardly any water and it was just for that small amount and the purge was absolutely not the point of it at all and it was the best experience. We did 1 dot on my ankle. It came up very slowly. She said, if you feel like you want to go deeper, you want to have a purge, you want me to put more on. She had put more points on just in case, and then said, drink the water if you wanna. I didn't want that, so I sat with it. I left it on for a long time, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and just really worked with that medicine. I don't know how else to say it, but it was incredible. And so I just continued to do that. I now do both, but I love that, microdose. It allows me to really work with it without just, freaking out and let me vomit and do all the purging and freak out and just freak out. I like that too sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I need that big purge and big get out, but
I can definitely see the benefits of microdosing. if someone, I would say it would be appropriate for someone who has a serious condition and doesn't have the energy to be able to handle a full combo session, to
Yeah.
help build their immunity, red blood cells, white blood cells, to get their immunity and their strength to the point where they can receive a full round of a combo session.
Yeah. That's exactly what she talks about. When she gets, patients who have cancer, who have different kinds of she'll start with that so they can really start to work with it so that it's not an immediate just go into it. It's a gentle way.
So the way I was trained, and the reason I never wanted to serve combo, I never thought I would be serving combo. Um, it was my ex partner and I. We were doing a Wachuma training. Um, and my combo teacher came for the Wachuma training, and we were in Peru, and everybody had altitude sickness.
Mm.
And he was like, "Why don't we just do a combo ceremony before?" So we did. And it was the first time that he'd served me combo. And it was a very different way because I had always been served the indigenous way, like 5, 6 points all at once, and it's intense. And he served in this way that was like a slow feminine approach. You just build and build each point. And I had the most profound experience. I
Mm.
really deeply connected with the medicine and the spirit. I was able to work with the medicine. I took more points than I'd ever had before. And I was like, wow, that was so, so beautiful. It's like, who taught you? I now need
I
to go sit with this
love that.
guy.
Yeah, I absolutely love that because it is a beautiful medicine to really work with. But when it comes on that way, and especially if you're not used to medicine, there's just not, and I am used to medicine and I still freak out. My body just, rejects it like out, get out, get out. So it's hard to really sit and so that's beautiful way to build like that. It's beautiful.
It's a way, and I've been taking into account of like the ways that I've been taught, and the ways in most ways that I've been served, and I'm just gonna not gonna filter or judge myself, and people can
Yeah.
receive it the way that they want to receive it. But we come from a lineage of patriarchal and dominating masculine ways of serving medicine. And there is a new surgence of the feminine, especially you're seeing it in the indigenous areas of Brazil, that the women are reclaiming their place on the altar. And the ways I've been taught, and I think this is why I loved it so much, is because I was able, really, my nervous system shook when I received Hoppe, or sorry, not Hoppe, combo, for probably about a year or 2 years, because my nervous system, from like just all the trauma and things, were shaking out. There's
Yeah.
like a trauma shake that happens, if
Yeah,
can
yeah.
happen when you receive combo. Now where I'm at, and kind of like, overseeing the different medicines that I serve and the ways that I serve them, it's definitely not the way that I've been taught or served. I serve in a way that is really more trauma informed, where and with this is why receiving combo in this slow feminine approach is so important. And I think also important to receive medicines in, like, less is more. We are so overloaded, stimulated. Our nervous systems are whacked out. Our adrenal systems are shut down. If you're like, you know, serving medicine in such a strong way, what does it do to your whole body? Your whole system's like, oh,
Yeah.
and you go into
Yeah, yeah,
fight or
yeah.
flight. Your nervous system like locks up, and you don't feel safe. There's a signal that goes into your brain. You're like, I'm not safe. I have to. And if you allow what if you're receiving medicine in a gentle approach, where you take say a medium dose, where your nervous system is still like, okay, it has time to adjust, and the energy system is like, get used to, okay, what is this? Now everything starts to soften and open.
Right.
And then you can receive more. You don't have to
Right.
receive everything all at once.
Right. I totally agree. I mean, I always say the same thing. Less is more, less is more, less is more. It's what is the point of going up there and having 7 cups of ayahuasca? Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. I don't understand. What more am I gonna get from that? And maybe, there is something that I don't understand, so I try not to judge, but I feel the same way. Less is more. I'm gonna be getting the same messages. I get it, like, sometimes you need more of. Yeah, I understand there's different things we're working with and I get all that, but I'm with you. Less is more. Yeah,
And
always my motto.
I also understand where people are coming from, that they're so numb that it actually takes that much to get them to feel.
Yeah.
And it again, it just goes back to, like, kind of also the conversation that we were having earlier, those threads of, like, that our nervous systems, and we are so taxed out that we need the feminine. We I I also, I went through this huge process of allowing my masculine to kind of, like, chill out, and really let the feminine come be into balance with the masculine, and not allow my masculine to dominate my feminine.
Hard to do. Sometimes that's so hard to do, especially if we've been in a world of taking care of things our whole life as the woman. That's hard to do. I'm finding myself doing the same thing these days.
Mm. I
Mhm.
think it's a collective energetic of what's happening with, awakened women, and, like, the masculine and the feminine. We're all going through these shifts internally. We have both masculine and feminine internally. And as women who maybe have grown up with strong, fierce, independent mothers who did it all, that was our modeling, that was our programming, and that's what we are also here to change. And anytime we are the change maker, we're the ones that have to figure it out, where maybe, it's janky and it's
Yeah,
ugly and
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah. Totally. That's exactly it. You nailed it. Well, let's talk about what you do a little bit, and I want to hear a little bit about Changa because I know this medicine a little bit, but talk to me a little bit about it.
Changa is a medicine that I make. It is DMT, and I extract it from mimosa. So changa is always going to be DMT and then a smoke mix. And everyone's medicine is different. That's the magic and the beauty of it. My recipe has been like an evolving recipe for
Mhm.
7 or 8 years. So now a lot, a, there's probably like 23 different plants in there.
Okay.
The main things I would, like the main key components are ayahuasca, different strains of ayahuasca, chacruna, and then dream herbs. And then at the ratio that I make it at, it's slowed down enough, because if you were just to smoke DMT, it's like a skyrocket out of your pineal gland. It's really fast. There's a lot of information, and it's a little bit like you come back from the journey and you're like, what the hell was that?
Right.
What?
What happened?
With Changa, I call my medicine the Divine Cosmic Mother. This is I am I am like the daughter of this archetype. I carry this archetype in everything that I do and the ways that I work. Is the Divine Cosmic Mother is life, death, and rebirth. She is, grandmother ayahuasca. She is also in the Changa, and
Mhm.
her spirit is really in there. I find the Changa is there is more of a spirit in the Changa than, as opposed to if you were just going to smoke DMT, even though DMT is the spirit molecule.
Right, right.
So you've got the DMT with the smoke mix, and that's really when the alchemy takes place.
So, and then once you smoke it, how long does a journey generally last?
A journey's anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes, but I also do specific things beforehand to increase that potentiality. And everyone is different. And I always say that, like, my deepest prayer for everyone, even though I shouldn't be attached to someone's journey, is that they really do go through that death portal and have a rebirth experience,
Yeah.
because it's so profound. Or that, you know, a lot of people are able to actually, for the first time ever, really meet their higher self, their
Mhm.
the highest aspect of who they are. Some
Sure.
people have soul retrievals, others have quit jobs that they didn't feel in alignment with, or, relationships that were toxic.
Right.
It's
Amazing how that happens.
Yeah, it's a really
Yeah.
beautiful medicine. I love working
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So what does it look like when someone comes to you? Do you individualize it? Do you have retreats? How do you do your thing?
Since my church is based here in Miami
Mhm.
and I work out of my home, so because I do a whole lot of things. I mostly do private ceremonies, and that's just where the energy is calling, perhaps at the moment.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I do retreats. In the next few years, like, I'm gonna be doing next year, Hoppe initiation. That will be a travel. And then Dieta in Iquitos, master plan retreat. That will be in the jungle next year also. So, but serving chanda is always here, and I treat them really like, all my private sessions are really very deep and like soul therapy. Like I said earlier, I'm an energy tracker, and I'm an quantum energy worker, and that's what I do in that quantum energy work as well. Is that I trace it all the way back to the roots, so that we can really, pull it out at the root system, so that it's the symptoms, everything is dissolved. So I really, my consultations are very in depth. And
You're really getting in there to get it all out.
yeah,
Mhm.
so I like to take an hour and really understand physically and multidimensionally what's happening. So that also, when someone is in there, I'm also doing energy work on them as well. So yeah, it's always a very in-depth one-to-one customized session.
And then integration. Let's talk integration for a minute because Mark and I always said, I mean, that's the reason that we started the plant medicine path. Without integration, we feel like it's just an experience and maybe it's a cool one, maybe it's a scary one, maybe it's not one at all. And there you don't realize exactly what it is. So, what are your thoughts on integration and what does that look like?
I think integration is, you can't say the most important, because each aspect is, you've got the whole puzzle, and it's really important. It's very, very important to have that aspect of integration, because a lot of times then it's just a journey and you don't really know how to integrate it into your life,
Hmm.
or certain things come up where you don't have support, and you needed support, and you didn't have those tools or someone to support you with those tools in that process to be able to integrate it and just be held.
Yeah.
Because some of these medicines, especially with Bufo, can be like a dynamite in your energy field, and in your whole life, can
Mhm.
take a year. Like my last dieta with Noira took me a whole year to integrate. And it's really important to allow yourself time to integrate, to give yourself nurturing, the things that you need in order to. It takes time to go through a death.
And it's intense, it's really intense. You've been doing these medicines and doing what you're doing a lot longer than I have. I'm going on just about 7 years now. And each I've had people say, oh, it gets easier. It just I don't think there's an easier or better, right? Because I mean, healing is not linear. I mean, something is always happening in your life, right? There's always going to be something happening, and so every journey is different, and sometimes these journeys still I was in Costa Rica a couple weeks ago, and I did my first yahe ceremony. That was the first time I drank that kind of medicine before, and oh my god! I mean, it was, and I know Mark always laughs and says you always say this, but it was the most intense. It was so intense. It was so intense, and holy mackerel! Listen, I've drank a lot of medicine, and that was an experience, and it's been almost 3 weeks now, and I still it's almost hard for me to still even talk about it because it was so intense and so, like, scary and beautiful and just so much to it. So, I think that these things can integrating can be a lifetime.
Yeah. There's
Ugh.
there's like new aspects that you can see in it. So if you don't it's like you don't know what you don't know until you're on the other side of it.
Yeah,
L-
yeah, 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 yeah.
Like for me with my this last dietas, like now it's only now that I'm on the other side of it that I can look back at what happened and be grateful for it and not, like still stuck in that painful place of like, oh, it's I don't think that it ever gets easier actually. And I think if you if you get a little bit too cocky, you're gonna get it, and
You
I find
are.
that, and I can say this because I just went through this experience this whole last year, is that I went to a next level place inside of myself that I never even knew was there. It's very difficult, and I've been through a lot of these processes where like you get cracked open, you get crushed into a million pieces, and you think, "Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna be okay. I really did it this time." And like I think I'm gonna quit everything, and then you come out the
Right.
other side, and it's like as deep as you go is the highest, like, the equal proportion that you can also ascend into that light body. So, I mean, I can be a bit hardcore, but I understand that we are infinite and death is just an illusion. So I'm always all for that death process, but it is very important to honor the process, to integrate, to really deeply nurture yourself. I do so for my clients, I do My my quantum energy work is like I always describe it to be like psychotherapy, but like energetic psychotherapy because we work with the subconscious.
Right.
So in each session, your higher self determines what's most important for you to address. And I have a manual, but I'm checking in with your higher self and I ask you to choose certain numbers, like choose a number 1 to 23. You tell me the number that will be the most perfect thing that you ever needed, that your higher self is divining the whole session. And we then go through, so it'll be like core programs or belief systems that are up for you. This is also during deep processes, you, you shout, like, you're learning how to sit with that shadow elements with inside of yourself, the wounds or the places that are ugly and you don't want to look at or that you're ashamed of, and you've been hiding them or like sweeping them under the rug all the time. And
Mhm.
now they're out in the light and it's time for you to love them and integrate them. So that's the work that we do in the quantum energy healing, is that it could be, a long-standing issue with a parental relationship, but then we don't just address this. We then start unraveling it and we trace it back to the origin of time and clear all of those origins of time multidimensionally so that you don't
Mhm.
have to encounter this program again, that we're all like computer programs.
Right.
We have a hard drive and we just our hard drives and our software systems need to be upgraded.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Yeah, I find this is the best way to do it. I mean, there's lots of methods. It's not all about taking psychedelics and doing these things at all. I mean, that it's been part of our process, but it's definitely not the whole thing. Yeah, it's other parts of it. Where can we find you? I definitely would love to have you back and talk some more. We are definitely along the same lines of many of these things, and I think that what you talk about with the integration and with trying to integrating to me is making becoming whole again, and
Exactly.
so little pieces are always coming off at different reasons, and
Mhm.
so bringing them back together and then giving yourself the grace to know that I don't really know why this is happening or what this is happening, or why 30 minutes before this I was just standing in the bathroom crying for 10 minutes. Like, why am I crying right now? I don't really know, but it's okay. Let's just get it back together and go back in there.
Yeah.
It's just part of it. A lot of things come together, and these medicine journeys, they're big journeys, and even and I say medicine, and medicine could be dieta, medicine can be a lot of different things. I don't mean
Mm.
just
Breath
medicine that
work
we're drinking.
even.
Yeah. It goes deep and it brings out a lot, and it's working with people like you that allows it to make sense so that we can become whole again. Yeah, during those different
And
times.
that's the beautiful journey of why we're here. So I don't think it's ever gonna end. The day that it ends is when we ascend.
Yeah, I agree. We're always here to learn. When somebody says something like, "Oh, she's been doing medicine long enough. She shouldn't be doing that." Or, no, this is a constant learning
Yeah.
experience. I think that's the whole point of this life. That's my
Yeah,
belief. That's the whole
totally.
point. We're here to learn. And we signed up for this in the beginning before this time, and we're here to learn these lessons, and that's what we're here to do. It's never going to end. I hope I never become unteachable.
That's when you get your ass kicked.
Exactly. Exactly, exactly. Well, tell us how we can find you online.
Either through any of my different websites, Higher Consciousness, which is my last name, Hyre, and then consciousness.com.
Okay.
That's where all my ceremonial work. Tribuspirit.com or ustribuspirit.com is where people can purchase plant medicines. Hoppe, also master plant tinctures. Tribu Spirit Academy, which has just launched only like 2 months ago. Tribuspiritacademy.com is where people can learn about shamanism. It's also going to be a
Amazing.
platform where indigenous, like I've got a Hoppe, Huni Queen Hoppe song study. That's the first
Mm,
course that was launched.
love that.
So it'll be a blend of like me teaching shamanism and the indigenous platform for the indigenous to preserve their knowledge as well.
Okay.
Or Instagram at tribu_spirit.
Okay. Well, and you'll be able to find you on all of our channels as well, and we'll get this released to yours, and then we'd definitely love to have you come back and talk again.
Thank you so much. It's been a real honor.
Well, until next time, we'll have you back. Thank you so much. And we'll hang on and go through what we need to go through. But thanks so much again.
Thank you, sister. Happy
All
holidays.
right. You too. Thank you.